In the previous videos, we have established the importance of this golden triangle. The teaching and learning activities, as well as the assessments, will have to be designed on the basis of the course outcomes. All these three components needs to be intact for a constructive alignment. This is a part of the quality control in terms of the delivery of a course and a program. Now from the operation side, in order to facilitate the entire process here, ensuring all these trees are intact, there are a series of documents involved. So far, we have covered the course outline, as discussed in the previous videos, which provide significant informations, details and specifications related to a course undertaken by the lecturer. Among the important informations include the student learning time (SLT), the transferable skills, the delivery methods and the assessment methods, the course outcome and their relationship with the program outcome, as well as the program objectives, and so on so far. It was mentioned that this course outline serves as the control to the lecturer, which we need to strongly abide to the specifications as listed in the course outline here. Whichever is being specified in the course outline, we cannot ignore. Whichever not listed in the course outline there, we cannot simply add in. At least this is for the quality control part. Nonetheless, there is still certain degree of flexibility, especially in terms of the emphasis given towards what is being specified within the particular course. And the lecturers are free to adjust their emphasis to help them best in terms of the delivery of the course, assisting the students through the learning process, paving way to the attainment of the course outcome by the students, which subsequently lead to the attainment of the program outcome. Now, knowing the requirements and the details of the course, lecturer will need to plan the teaching and learning activities as well as the assessment. It is so that it meets the course outcome as well as fit the course outline. This is when the lecturer needs to produce the teaching plan. In these videos, we're going to discuss about the teaching plan. This is the typical content of a teaching plan. Different universities may have different formats. Even so, the principles are similar. There will be information regarding the course, including the course code, the credit hours for that particular course, the info and details of the lecturer, the timetable, providing information of the time slot given to the lecturer, and the durations of the contact hours as specified in the timetable shall be in line with the course outline, specifically in line with the face-to-face student learning time. There will be course outcome here. You know that the entire teaching and learning activities, including the assessment, will have to be designed in accordance to the course outcome. That should be the ultimate goals, and therefore the lecturer needs to first aware of the course outcome. This course outcome will have to also refer to the course outline as specified in the outcome statements. And the lecturer also needs to aware of the CO and PO mapping. Whichever teaching and learning activities will have to be designed in order to attain the course outcome, which at the same time the lecturer will also need to cross-check the respective teaching and learning activities. Is it also compatible in terms of meeting the program outcome that the CO is being mapped to? Remember that there are additional components as specified that is designed alongside with the graduate attributes. These include complex engineering problem solving, complex engineering activities, sustainable development goals. All these are well aligned with the POs. More specifically, the PO are meant to address individual graduate attributes, and based on the requirement by IEA, the graduate attributes have the necessary components embedded in each of them. When your CO is mapped to certain POs that is in line with certain graduate attributes, whichever come together with that graduate attribute, such as sustainable development goal, complex engineering problem solving, complex engineering activities, will have to be incorporated within the teaching and learning activities. Since now it is within the teaching and learning activities, there should also be relevant assessment. This is to ensure all these are intact. And then, the lecturers are given flexibility in terms of planning for the delivery methods as well as the assessment strategy. These delivery methods and the assessment strategy will have to be in line with the teaching and learning and assessment strategy as specified in the course outline. Nevertheless, it is more refined. This one comes together as an overall within that particular course. Now, when come to the teaching plan, you will need to design the teaching and learning activities as well as the assessment method separately by each CO. The best practice for this, it will be ensure a good variety in terms of the teaching and learning activities as well as the assessment methods. Bare minimum 2 delivery methods and 2 assessment strategies shall involve. You can have more, but it should be sufficient enough to a manageable level, especially for the assessment strategies. Too many assessment may lead to over-assessment, which may defeat the purpose of facilitating the learning of the students. Everything will have to come in a manner that just nice to facilitate the learning of the students. There will also be reference lists, which theoretically should be in line with the main and additional references as specified in the course outline. Later, it will be the teaching plan. This one will need to be discrete towards the entire semesters. Let's say now a typical semester, it will have 14 weeks of contact hours. You will have to plan the sequence of the delivery of different chapters. What are the topic outcomes? How are they related to the course outcome? And how much durations you anticipate it shall be. The teaching plan also involves when you're going to conduct the assessment. What kind of assessment involved? And then the last part, it will be approval by the head of program and endorsement by the dean. Now we have covered the typical content of the teaching plan. For new lecturers, you might not be able to imagine all this. Maybe let me show you some example. Bear in mind that different universities may have different formats. Nonetheless, the principles shall be similar. This is the typical planning in terms of the teaching and learning method as well as the assessment strategies. Let's say now this course have 3 course outcomes. When you design your teaching and learning methods, it shall be based on the course outcome. There are various modes of the delivery methods: lecture, tutorial, assignment, presentations, computer-based learning, project supervisions, research, and other student-centered learning. Different universities may have different classifications. Supposingly, you will need to choose the right delivery methods in order to fit the learning outcome. It is not just simply ticking here and there. you really need to look into the course outcome. Some may not be suitable for the tutorial. Some may also not be suitable for lecture, especially when it comes to the psychomotor type of course outcome. Since the mode of delivery has been specified in the course outline, if it is mentioned, then you will need to make sure that you have those within your course, which may not necessarily you need to have all for each course outcome, especially when some course outcome you feel inappropriate or ineffective. The flexibility is given to you at this stage. However, what is fixed, it will be the choices in terms of the teaching and learning methods as specified by the course outline. Same goes to the assessment strategy. When the assessment strategy already specified, particularly in terms of the course outline specified, in terms of the marks carried by different types of assessment, such as how many marks go for the coursework, how many marks go for the final exam. Among the coursework, if it is clearly specified, 20% for the progress test, 15% for assignment, and 5% for presentations, for example. Now you will have to strictly follow this. Nevertheless, you will have to break down those percentage of the marks in accordance to the course outcome. What is specified in the course outline, it will be this: 20% for progress test, 20% for assignment, and 60% for final exam. Now you have to strongly abide to this. Nevertheless, the flexibility shall be given for you to distribute the marks among different COs. For example, you can have 5 marks for CO1 for progress test and another 15 marks for CO2 for the progress test. You may also choose to have 10 here, or you may also choose to have progress test attending for CO2 and CO3, or you want to combine everything 20 marks in one CO. The flexibility is given to you. Same goes to the assignment. How do you intend to play around with the marks? How do you intend to distribute them? Flexibilities are given to you. Just that the total marks for different types of assessment will have to strongly abide to the course outline. There are a series of assessment strategies. This may include the presentations, evaluations, fieldwork report, lab report, other evaluations method, and final examinations. Normally, different courses will have different combinations here. For the course that not compatible for final examinations, where capstone project may involve, most likely it will go for the other evaluations method. Because the teaching plans are produced before the semester starts, the marks, of course, it will be tentative. If possible, you try to abide to what was initially planned. But you know that when it comes to the assessment later, probably the progress test, it might not be a round number. Certain degree of adjustment shall be acceptable. What is rigid, you will still need to abide to this ratio, as stipulated in the course outline. As for the final examinations, the marks here, it will be lump sum. Because at the stage while developing the teaching plan, most likely the final exam paper is yet to be produced. At this moment, we may not be able to refine how many marks go to which COs. But what is guaranteed, the final exam here shall cover all the COs. Later, when it comes to producing the final exam, this 60 mark shall later be broken down into different COs, which will be discussed in our future videos. It was also mentioned about the teaching plan here. This is where you plan the sequence as well as the schedule of your assessment. For example, this table here. You will need to plan your teaching and learning activities throughout the entire semesters. There shall be at least 14 weeks of face-to-face student learning time. You can discrete this towards each week as an interval. Some may choose to be more refined by the numbers of contact time. Let's say now in a week, there are 2 contact time. Some institutions break down this 1 week into 2 contact time. This is up to the practice of the university. For my personal opinion, refining it to the weeks is good enough. The more refined it is, the more you need to monitor, which means there will be additional works. Specify the dates as well as the topics to be covered. Now, the topics to be covered will have to be in line with the course outline. Indicate the topics and the subtopic to be delivered within each week. Based on the course outline, there are also SLT incorporated. The SLT normally are divided into 2 parts: face-to-face SLT and non-face-to-face SLT. Not only you need to plan for the face-to-face SLT, you have to consider how you're going to facilitate the non-face-to-face SLT as well. Without facilitations, most likely students will not do anything on this. Some ways to facilitate that, it will be to have some quizzes, to provide some tasks, take-home tutorials, mini presentations. It may also be in terms of the supervision's manner. At least there are some mechanisms to facilitate their independence learning. Remember, previously we talked about different types of outcomes, especially at the early part of this module. But most of the discussions fall on the course outcome, program outcome, and the program objectives. These are the part that which shall be heavily evaluated. We did indicate that there are topic outcome, but it is not really in the formal evaluation system. This doesn't mean that this is not here, as you will see this in the topic outcome here. You will need to establish the topic outcomes for you to evaluate the progress of the students throughout the semester. Normally, we will make the topic outcome to be relatively easy and also easy to cross-check. We will do the monitoring without formal analysis. The most ideal case here, after completing each topic, there should be a quick reflection in terms of the status of the students. Now, these reflections or quick assessment shall be designed on basis of this topic outcome. You may choose to do all the topic outcome if possible. If not, at least you do some checking once a while in order to monitor the progress of the students. This one, it will be purely on the initiative of the lecturer. As far as the program management is concerned, they might not regulate, refine up to this level. This will be very much dependent on the professionalism of the lecturers. And then the respective topic outcome shall be closely related to your course outcome. Now, the ideal case here, there should be at least one topic outcome per topic. And the respective topic outcome should be something significant, truly reflects the themes of that particular course outcome, and it should be strongly correlated to the course outcome. Your ultimate goal here is not the topic outcome. Theoretically, your ultimate goal here, it will be the course outcome. Now, the topic outcome serve as a bridging tools, paving the way to the course outcome. Why is it so? This is because when come to the formal evaluations and analysis, the lowest it will be the course outcome. In this case, we will use the topic outcomes as a tools towards the attainment of the course outcome. Second, it is also a reflection in terms of the achievement of the students, giving early indications in terms of the likelihood of the students attaining the course outcome. Having the early indications, mitigations can be made immediately before the summative assessment. So I would say that the topic outcome, it will be formative in nature. And then the last column, it will be the remarks. This one is for the lecturer to indicate the plannings. What are the planned tasks? Such as giving briefing to the students, organizing site visits, interim monitoring of the assignment, final submissions of the assignment, progress tests, presentations, and so on so far. What you see here, after completing the teaching plan, the lecturer should theoretically have an idea how to conduct the course throughout the entire semester. The focus here is not just the teaching plan, that you have to feel everything right. The ultimate purpose from the perspective of the program management, it is to facilitate the lecturer to really plan into their course delivery and the assessment before the semester starts. You know that without proper planning, especially when come to educations which is something complex, normally it will end up to be disaster. And the worst case here, when it ends up to be disaster or not meeting the purpose, many still do not aware of it. Many do not have an idea where does it goes wrong. A good practice here is that when you produce the teaching plan, you may also produce the assignments or the project handouts. Plan your assignment. Normally, we recommend the lecturers to give the handouts of the assignments of the projects to the students in the week 1. And the assignments or the project should be designed with adequate student learning time, where sufficient time should be given to the students in order to facilitate learnings of the students. Some may choose to have the assignment to be done throughout the semesters. That means one assignment will cover nearly all the content of a particular course. This is achievable. Some may choose to have several assignments, where collective of those assignments will also eventually cover the entire course. More specifically, attending to the course outcome as stipulated in the course outline. My personal observations, many lecturers produce the teaching plan for the sake of documentations as a part to fulfill the requirement by the program without fully understanding the purpose. The purpose is actually to facilitate the process of preparing for the course. It also indicates to you the student learning time should be more or less reasonable to the students as per recommended by the course outline. The topics and the subtopic covered should also based on the course outline as well. When you only prepare the teaching plan on the basis just for the document, now you are not really taking full advantage of it, especially when you do not really follow the topic outcome or you do not abide to the schedules as planned. Then it is possible for you to overshoot or finish the course earlier than what was initially anticipated. This one is still a small issue because you can simply adjust and create some other teaching and learning activities to help the students to deal with the revisions in order to strengthen their understanding and also rectify their weaknesses. Another common problem by the lecturer it will be there is no or limited monitoring from the topic outcome level. This is very traditional modes of mentality, which I would say that nearly all the lecturers do not really take this into account. When the topic outcome has been specified here, theoretically there should be assessment. Otherwise, there shouldn't be any topic outcome. Now you should have some simple assessment throughout the entire semester, which you can make it quite easy and casual to the students. The ultimate goal here is not for the summative purposes, it is for the formative. It gives you a quick idea whether the students can keep up with the learning, or it gives you an idea whether your teaching and learning methods is appropriate. Is it necessary for you to find some other ways to deliver the respective topics? When the lecturers do not really go into monitor the progress of the students, now the entire focus here, it will be still towards the teacher-centered method. Even though you declare yourself having the student-centered method, conducting the activities, but ultimately you do not know the progressions of the students. What you know here is the activities has been conducted by you yourself. So from this perspective, the entire progressions of the class, it is still teacher-centered. This deviated from the true meaning of student-centered learning. If we really need to go to another extreme, the most ideal situations of the student-centered learning is when you realize that students cannot cope with that, you should follow the pace of the students. You shall enter the following topics after the students have fully mastered the previous one. Of course, there are also some challenging part, especially when it comes to this in terms of the completing all the topics on time. Now the point here is there should be progress monitoring from the topic outcome, which you don't have to have those topic outcome to be very complex, as it's only serve as the indications whether the students are likely to attend the respective course outcome after completing the course. And this is something that most lecturers omitted. Another common problem is when the lecturer considers this as a part of the document only. Many do not really test the correlations between the topic outcome and the course outcome. Imagine this. Now let's say you are very hardworking and diligent lecturer. You have a series of topic outcome which you actually go through assessing every single one of them, and towards the comfortable levels of the students, you get the feedbacks from the students. However, when your topic outcome is not strongly correlated to the course outcome, whatever you get as a feedback from the students in terms of their achievement and performance has no strong correlations towards the ability of them attaining their respective CO at the end of the semester. Now it goes back to the problem that why do you need the topic outcome in the first place when the most important functions of the topic outcome is not there. Also, some other problems with the topic outcome, it will be improper distributions of the topic outcome towards the course outcome. Ideally, when there are 3 course outcomes being indicated for one course, they shall carry more or less equivalent weightage. That is the most ideal situation. 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. If not, the deviation shouldn't be too significant. For example, CO1 carry 80%, CO2 carry 15%, and CO3 carry only 5%. In this case, it seems to me that the CO is not well constructed. When you incorporate something which is minor as your CO, whereas something which is major has not been appropriately break down. Now you will lose a lot of important aspect on the major part and pay too much emphasis on the things which is minor. This shouldn't be the way. Now how do you identify that? We have to start with the topic outcome. Make sure it is well distributed among the 3 COs. The weightage carried by each CO here as being met by the topic outcome shall be more or less similar to the weightage of the marks when come to the assessment. It is also possible that when the CO are really not well constructed, no matter how you try, there will always be heavy skew towards certain CO, while some CO seems to be extremely insignificant. In this case, you will need to reflect to your CQI committee and make sure the COs are reconstructed in the next curriculum review. You know that for one course here, it is nearly impossible for you to cover so many outcomes. This will come to a level beyond the manageable range by the lecturer. Since that you only have 3 or 4 shot here, you have to make sure every single shot here really carries significant weightage. Go for the important topics and themes, what you really want the students to learn. Whichever minor thing, it may be embedded under the respective COs. Or those minor things can be considered implicit, which consider come together but not heavily assessed throughout the course. I believe if you haven't gone through this module, probably you have no idea the importance of the teaching plan, and you will listen to whichever teaching you that teaching plan is just documentation. It serves no purpose. It is for the sake that to indicate that the lecturers are doing their job. Is it really true? It is when you do not really mind how it is functioning within the program. Then later when come to the evaluations, when anything goes wrong, you have no directions. How can you improve the program? Or how can you improve the course? This will bring to you a situation that no matter how you improve the course in the program, you will always come back to the same problem. Why is it so? Because something wrong with the implementations. You are working on something which you pre-assume that might not actually exist, and you have never thought about it. Think about it. And one more recommendations to you. Knowing the importance of the teaching plan, if you really need to cover every single one of them, you may be overdoing it. You will have to consider at the broader context, strike a balance between the practicality and the ideal situations. Choose whichever is significant, adopt which you feel is right towards the comfortable levels of your, in order to make the evaluations meaningful. Otherwise, you will still find yourself spinning the hamster wheel, not knowing the directions, tired and exhausted, and start complaining about the OBE.